It's good morning, Georgia Harper. Welcome to Yellow Shelf.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Oh, Georgia, my pleasure. I'm so glad you said yes. Your latest book, Dove, it's out now. Congratulations. It is your second book, but your first time
Thank
on
you.
Yellow
It
Shelf.
is my
So,
second book.
yeah, tell us all about Dove.
All right. So, Dove is a psychological thriller set in the Sunshine Coast hinterland in Australia in the 1990s. And we've got like a little tourist, tiny little town on a tourist route. And Dove is the main protagonist in the book. She lives alone on a little permaculture property where she, quite romantic sounding. She grows flowers and organic veggies, and she has sheep and goats, and she's quite the independent woman. She's sort of early 30s, just does her own thing. And she has a bit of an event one day where a neighbor, is violent towards her. And she gets really angry, and she's built this big mud brick wall on the front of her property, which flanks the tourist route. And she writes on the wall, "Women, what would you do if you had a whole day on earth free of men?" And of course, the local townsmen don't take particularly kindly to that question, especially when their wives and girlfriends and daughters start sneaking up to the wall to write their responses. And women who are passing through, there's a bakery that people stop at, and they start to write their answers on there as well. And sort of some tensions start growing in town. There's two other main characters. So Noah, he's a sort of Aussie good bloke electrician, kind of found himself though in a place where he never really thought he would be. And his 15-year-old daughter Bella, and her entries are told through her diary. And so it is a psychological thriller, but it's also set around that bigger question of asking women what they would do, and just exploring fears and safety and freedom. But yeah, things sort of start to go awry on Dove's property, and she starts getting concerned for her safety. I'll leave it at that.
Sounds good. And look, from my perspective, I've read the book. It's definitely there's a depth to your storytelling, Georgia, and that feeling of small town drama, entwined feminist themes, violence, crime. There's a lot of curiosity in this book, so well done. Georgia, do you want to tell us a little bit about
Thank you.
you as an author, and a little bit about you? I'd love to hear. I'd love you to share.
Yeah, sure. Sure. Well, look, I'll tell you where I'll very briefly mention that the story, this ties to me. So the original, the idea of painting that question on the front fence actually is something that I considered when I was having a moment a few years ago. And
Yeah.
I was in the middle of edits for my first book, What I Would Do to You. And there's sort of yeah, I was like sort of feeling a bit angry about the world. And I was deep down the rabbit hole of a current day viral social media question that asks, what would you do if there were no men for a day? And I was reading women's responses. There's thousands of them online. And
Yeah.
I was just really moved by the responses. And then something happened, and I got really mad, and I was like, I'm writing the question on my front fence. And, I told a few friends, and they gave me the usual advice to say, just chill out, Georgia. I did, but I kept the idea in mind. But in terms of me, so I'm from Brizzy.
Yes.
Is one of the reasons I set it up in the beautiful hinterland. But I'm also, so I've been a psychologist for a long time. I've worked in prisons and forensic mental health. So I sort of bring that background, I suppose, as well to my storytelling, especially around crime. But I've worked with a lot of victim survivors as well. Yeah.
Wow,
And,
you
I've, and
mean
I've, there's goats in the story. I've had goats. What was that?
there are goats.
There are
Georgia,
goats. Yeah.
are you going to keep writing? I mean, you're obviously allowed to enjoy this. It's going to be really busy times launching this book and the
Yeah.
joys that come with that. But is there that burning desire as an author to continue this
Yeah.
journey?
Yes. Yes,
Good.
I will absolutely continue. In fact, I have put aside a couple of books that I started last year, but I'm planning to.
Yeah.
I've got an idea. I'm on it. There'll be something
Awesome.
else,
Well,
hopefully, in the not too distant
no
future. Yeah.
pressure, but when when those books come out in the future, I would love to have you back because I really enjoy the way you write, and I encourage others to dive
Thank
into
you.
Dove. Georgia, if we're curious about you
Yes.
as an author, if we
Mhm,
want to connect to
mhm.
you, the book, the launch, point us in the direction. I'll put it in the show notes, but you're on socials, so you tell us where we go.
Yes, I'm on socials. Please do not come to Facebook. Like I post that I'm never there. So just
No, no,
come
no,
to
no.
Instagram if you've got Instagram. I do have a website, but Instagram's the main place where I
Okay.
am. And most importantly, because I couldn't do my own Dove's wall, well, I didn't do my own wall in
Yes.
real life. I am in time with the book launch releasing at Dove's Wall on Instagram, and I'm inviting people to come and give their real world responses to
Great.
that question. So go to at Dove's Wall. My Instagram's at Georgia Harper underscore author. But if you go to at Dove's Wall, you can come and submit your answers, and we can create a real life wall.
That sounds like a wonderful action. I'll put that in the show notes, Georgia, to make it super easy for anyone to
That'd be
connect with
amazing.
you, to get curious about you and the book. Best of luck enjoying this time as a book author, because I know it can be exciting and crazy and busy, but well done.
Thank you. And thank you so much for having me. And if you're in Australia, I'll be in New South Wales, Queensland, and South Australia in the next couple of months as well. So I'd love to meet you.
Awesome. I'll put some links into those events because that's pretty exciting. Georgia, all the best.
Thank you.
Cheers.